Guys, it's me. I'm sorry about missing class again this week. A meeting got scheduled that I can't get out of, but I did not want to. Um, I did not want to delay anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tutorial today in class. Sorry, online, for you to be able to follow and to be able to do, because there's some very typical things that I'd want you to do to fix your work, and I've uploaded a couple of your images each for people that have submitted. So follow through with me on this, and I'd like for all of you to be able to do this with your work, okay? So the first piece here is a piece that is clearly distorted, which is a very common thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get my rulers. I'm in Photoshop, by the way. I've opened everything up in Photoshop. And I'm putting a guide at the top and at the sides just to see how, whoops, didn't want that one. I want it right on the art piece itself, because I want to see how crooked or how distorted this image is. So I'm doing this with my guides, putting them in. And you'll see that my guides are perpendicular to the XY axes. And that's what I want to do. So I want to align my picture with the guides, and see I've got all this extra space here and extra space here. So the next thing I'm going to do is pick up my marquee tool, and I'm going to make a marquee bigger than the space that I need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to transform and skew, and watch what happens. When I get skew, I get these corners, and I could just move the art to match against the edges of the guidelines. And so it's square here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And then if I'm clear and straight, double click it, and that's good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the cropping tool, and if I want to crop the frame, I can do that. But in this case, if I don't want the frame and I want to crop just the image, I can do that. And I'm just going to crop the image because I don't like the light coming through the frame and stuff. Double click, and there you go. We've got a beautiful piece here. Uh-oh, I have a little bit of frame here. So I'm going to get my crop image again, and I'm going to crop it just a little bit more. And double click. You get what I'm doing. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save it as portfolio, painting, sheep, whatever it is, and I'm going to save it as a TIFF file, not as a JPEG, and save it in my folder and tell it okay. One portfolio piece done. Let's go to the next piece. Again, we have that same situation where it needs to be straightened out to the guide. So again, put your guides out, and then after distort it. I want to talk a little bit about the background. Normally, I would not include a background, so I would distort this and fix it so that it's straight, perpendicular to the X and Y axes, and then after crop the background out so we could have a clean white background later on. But if I wanted to keep the background and I wanted to adjust this, the darkness of this, there are several things I would do. First of all, it looks like this is a black and white piece, and that this background is white, but it looks like it's this beige color. One suggestion I have is go ahead and change your mode to grayscale to get rid of the color. Keep the values you have here, and then after, what I would do is select adjustments, brightness and contrast, and slightly adjust the contrast so that you end up getting a white background, and you could match your values to what they need to be, either lighter or darker. And then you can use your white background. And again, if that's done, save this as a collage, black and white, black, white. Save it as a TIFF file and save it to your folder. And good, that's done. Next one. JC, this is yours, and I noticed that on this black, I've got a good black here, but I've got a hot spot here, and I want to try to avoid that hot spot. Now, I could do a couple of things. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do an adjustment of the brightness and contrast to see if I might be able to get rid of, oh, see how much hotter that is? If I drop it just a little bit more, I get less of a hot spot. Let me try the contrast here. Much better. I like that. And so I tell it okay. And if you want everything at this angle like this, that's okay. But you may want to crop this dead space, or I'm not quite sure how you're going to use that. Normally, we would do this, you know, straight up and down and stuff, but it seems like you've got a lot of your pieces that are set up this way. So I would call this Sketchbook BK 1JC, save it as a TIFF, and turn that off, and save, and save. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, okay, so JC, on this one, I would encourage you to rotate the canvas. And so to do that, we want to go to image. Where is rotate at? Image mode, adjustments, image size, image rotation. Here we go. We want to go 90 degrees clockwise. Oops, wrong way. Counterclockwise, I mean. Image rotation counterclockwise. There we go. And then if because this is a book, I actually think this is fine. I think with this, what I would probably do again is go to mode, adjustments, brightness and contrast, and get rid of that hot spot just like we did before. So it doesn't really, so it allows the piece to kind of, you know, pop in saturation. And tell it okay, and we're good to go. So JC, we would then save that piece and give it another piece, name Sketchbook 2 JC, and JPEG, save it as a TIFF, save, and tell it okay. Next piece. JC, I'm going to let you go. You know what to do with that. Already addressed this with how to be able to fix it. In this one, it's interesting because we see that we have two different backgrounds, and I'm going to show you guys a trick with this one in particular. This is, I'm going to blow, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this with another piece, because if I blow this up bigger, I'm going to get really, well, I can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to well, let me get another piece. I'm going to close this. I'm going to do this piece here. Ew. And what I'm going to do is you'll notice that I have two pieces and they're two different backgrounds. And what I want to do is I want to change the background. And what I can do is, let me stop this.